This is why we don't stand and film. Hello and welcome back. This week I'm very excited because I'm reviewing Mal von Hassel's Alina, A Song for the Telling. So I'm going to start by apologizing for that dog. I don't know why he's angry. Oh, hello, Lily. Lily's here again. Anyway, so Alina, A Song for the Telling, it's a historical fiction taking place sometime during the Crusades. I'm not entirely sure which Crusades, just because I don't really remember my history all that much, but it's really interesting. So Alina and her brother are noble people, and they love their life in France until literally everybody dies. It's kind of like Hamlet in that regard. So but the trouble after everybody dies is that their uncle and aunt not exactly come to power, but they come to help them start to like figure everything out, and in the process of doing that they kind of take over because they both think that Alina and Milos, her brother, are incompetent. Really pisses both of them off because they're very independent young people. Alina's like 14-ish, and I think Milos is a little bit older. That part I wasn't 100% on. But anyway, so to escape the tyranny of their aunt and uncle, they decide to go down to Jerusalem to pray for their father's soul, or at least that's what they say, because Alina is an accomplished lute player and she kind of has this dream of being a troubadour. She was doing the whole like, I want to be a pop star when I grow up, but before it was cool. Milos, meanwhile, he just like wants to kind of make a name for himself. He's really good with horses. That comes into play a little bit down the road. So on their trip to Jerusalem, they meet a bunch of people. In Jerusalem, they meet a bunch of really interesting people. And the cool thing that von Hassel did was that a lot of the people mentioned in the book are actual, real historical figures. And I really liked that at the beginning of the novel. There's a list of all the characters, fictional and real. And that was just kind of cool because as opposed to just being a historical fiction like, ooh, set in the past, it's really set in the past. With all these real people, real places. And I thought it was also kind of interesting because at the end there's an author's note where von Hassel basically says, hey, so super technically a few things happened in a few different years, but I chose this year and just kind of tweaked the timeline a little bit, which I guess to some purists they might have a little bit of an issue with that, but I certainly don't think it's worth dismissing the book because it was really interesting. You really got to see Alina come into her own. I liked the juxtaposition, between her and the princess that she's basically laying in waiting for while down in Jerusalem, because Alina is like striving to get out of the, not really the bonds, but she wants to kind of push against the stereotype and the expectations that are thrust upon her, like that she's going to get married, that she's just going to be some noble lady and she's just going to have kids and whatever and not have much of a personality. Meanwhile, with the princess, she knows that she doesn't really have all those options. So her rebelling is like kind of in a different sense, because as opposed to like pushing against the system, she's trying to like work within the system in a way that best benefits her. And I thought that was really cool to kind of see that comparison. Lots of drama. I don't want to spoil it to you, but there are secret plots, and there is backstabbing, and there's framing, and there's this know-it-all conniving like servant girl that like crazy stuff happens to her. It is jam-packed with action and detail, and it's just really well done. I really can't think of too many reasons why you wouldn't like the book unless you're just like against historical romance, but even if you are, I think this is a really good book that's worth giving it a shot. So that's all that I have for Alina, A Song for the Telling. Next week I'm very excited because I will be reviewing The House of Marchetti. Thanks.